Hello. I was going to say good morning or good evening or whatever time of day it is. Hello. Welcome to another one of our One Church devotionals online. A little bit of extra content to add into what we're doing on a Sunday to hopefully refresh you and give you time to spend with God and give you another extra kind of dimension to life in lockdown. Those of you who've been around online for our Sunday services will know we've been looking at Philippians recently. And this week, Sam started a really helpful conversation about what spiritual maturity looks like. He looked at how Paul takes the wonder of Jesus pouring himself out for us, not grasping equality with God, but taking on the nature of a servant. And saw how that kind of applies to our lives, to see how we can have that same kind of love for each other, to see what having that self-giving love looks like in our lives, to see the marks of spiritual maturity. And there's a massive conversation to be had about that. Now, clearly we don't have time to go into all these passages in great detail in 10 minutes on a Sunday morning. So we decided that each week we're going to have a bit of a devotional video, picking up something of the passage that got missed out entirely on Sunday, and just helping us reflect a bit more on that. So we're not missing out massive chunks of this book. So today we're going to look at Philippians 2. You might want to find a Bible or the app on your phone and just take a moment to maybe make a cup of tea, find yourself a good helpful space where you can sit and reflect. It might be in a cupboard locked far away from your children, it might just be sitting outside in the sunshine, but just find a spot where you can relax and breathe and be with our God. We're going to look, as I said, at the end of Philippians 2. It's too often the overlooked bit at the end. It's not as grand as that amazing hymn to Jesus' self-emptying life. It's not as visually wonderful as shining like stars. It's not as impossibly hard to do as the phrase, do everything without complaining or arguing, which I've noticed no one's picked up on. But it's quite a full-on phrase. Maybe we can have a long discussion on Zoom about how on earth we do everything without complaining or arguing. But right at the end, between these famous bits of chapter 2 and the wonderful heights of chapter 3, where Paul talks about his rejection of his former life for the wonder and the joy of knowing Jesus, there's more about that on Sunday. Right at the end lies this little bit about these two guys, Timothy and Epaphroditus. So I'm going to read it to us, and hopefully the words will come up on the screen. I say hopefully. I'm going to get Kevin to put them in. So the words are going to appear on the screen. I hope in the Lord Jesus to send Timothy to you soon, that I may also be cheered when I receive news about you. I have no one else like him who will show genuine concern for your welfare. For everyone looks out for their own interests, not those of Christ Jesus. But you know that Timothy has proved himself, because as a son with his father, he served with me in the work of the gospel. I hope, therefore, to send him as soon as I see how things go with me, and I am confident in the Lord that I myself will come soon. But I think it's necessary to send back to you Epaphroditus, my brother, co-worker and fellow soldier, who is also your messenger, whom you sent to take care of my needs. For he longs for all of you in his distress because you heard he was ill. Indeed, he was ill and almost died, but God had mercy on him, and not on him only, but also on me, to spare me sorrow upon sorrow. Therefore I am all the more eager to send him, so that when you see him again you may be glad, and I may have less anxiety. So then welcome him in the Lord with great joy, and honour people like him, because he almost died for the work of Christ. He risked his life to make up for the help you yourselves could not give me. I love these parts of the letters. I think they help to bring to life what's going on in the early church. So they talk about normal people who are helping out, who are serving each other, who are looking out for each other, and their love for each other. In the same way that I love hearing stories of how you guys and us as a church community are spending time taking care of each other. I love hearing stories of how people are just showing up on people's doorsteps with boxes of food, who've had socially distant chats with those who are feeling isolated and alone. I love hearing stories of how the small groups are caring for each other and continuing to meet up and encourage each other. I delight in seeing what's going on in our church community. It brings me joy. I think, whenever we hear about it, hopefully it brings you joy too, to see how we are caring for each other. And these snapshots into the early church are a bit like that. They're just simple human stories of care. And it's just quite nice just to look back through pull back the curtain a bit and see what's going on for these guys in the early church. And two verses, I think, stand out for me in these living, breathing examples of all that Paul has been going on about in the last few verses of maturity and loving each other as Christ loved us. There's two examples of what spiritually mature lives can look like, of what care and concern can look like for us in this world. First of all, Paul bigs up Timothy. He says, I have no one else like him who will show genuine concern for your welfare. For everyone looks out to their own interests, not those of Jesus Christ. Timothy sounds brilliant, doesn't he? He shows genuine concern for their welfare. He's someone who really looks out for other people. And Paul is desperate to send him so he can get caring for these people, but also so Paul can hear how they're doing. There's a real love going on there. You get this sense that they desperately care for each other and are trying to work out how each other are. It's just such a lovely example of this self-emptying love that we've been talking about. And then we've got Epaphroditus, which is probably not on the top 10 list of baby boy names in the country this year, but it's a great name. He's been sent to look after Paul, but Paul's sending him back so that these guys can know that he's okay and he's been ill, big drama, and now Paul's just like, here, have Epaphroditus back just to make sure he's okay. Give me less anxiety. Let's share this wonderful, lovely guy around. I love that sense of just like they're just caring for each other, aren't they? He says about him, he says, welcome him in the Lord with great joy. Honour people like him. I love that call to honour the people who care, who pour themselves out, who show up for each other. We've been in quite a lot of need over the last week. We've had a bit of a shocking, horrible week. And I'm just so grateful for the people who've shown up for us. And I honour them, the people who've just brought boxes of food to our doorstep. We turned up over the door one day to find wine and cheese on the doorstep. It's brilliant. And that love shown to us has brought hope back into my life and into my heart. And I've been able to think, it is possible to keep going on because actually we're not alone. And I'm not alone in this. And I felt like it's a bit of that physical, actual hands and feet of God to us to enable us to keep going. And I think that's what Paul, Timothy and Epaphroditus are up to in each other's lives. They're a living demonstration of what pouring yourself out for each other can look like. I'm going to stop talking in a minute because this isn't another sermon. It might sound like one, but it's a devotional, which I think the difference is that now it's time for you to have some space to process this passage and what I've been talking about. You don't just want my thoughts. Actually, what is it with you and God right now? What are the things that you're noticing in this passage? I just have a couple of questions. I want you to think, actually, who has been like these guys for you in your life? Who do you want to honour and thank for their love for you? Who's shown genuine concern for your welfare? Where in your life have you known love like this? And just spend a bit of time with God, thanking God for those people. You might want to write their names down. If they're still alive and living, you might want to write to them and just say, thank you for all you've done for me. Thank you for being genuinely concerned for my welfare because you've been like Jesus. And then moving on, just ask God to bring to mind a couple of people who you think actually they could probably do with a bit of love poured out on them. They might need a text or a meal or a socially distanced chat or any number of things. But who could you reach out to with love at this time? Might be a neighbour, might be a friend, might actually just be someone beyond your friendship circle in our church community. You think, they've been on my mind recently. Why didn't I get in touch with them? Who can you reach out to with love at this time? Now, we can get overwhelmed with need. I'm not saying we should save the world. I'm just saying, actually, let's ask God for one or two people who we think, actually, I could reach out to them this week and I could pour out some love on them. As we finish, as you think about those questions, I'm going to play a song. It's a fairly old school song. Some of you might know it, but it's from the dim distant past, possibly beyond the 80s. And it has this first verse that says, will you let me be your servant? Let me be as Christ to you. Pray that I may have the grace to let you be my servant too. And I think in all my years of being a Christian, it's possibly one of the only songs I know where people are talked about in that kind of loving relationship of saying, actually, let's help me love people and help me accept love from other people. More songs should be written like that. Because we need to enact this way of Jesus, this life with Jesus thing, this pouring out of self-emptying ourselves. And this song's a really lovely reflection of what that might look like in our lives. So as the song plays, ask God for that help, for the guts to ask for help when you need it, and the strength to give out help to those around you. Let's listen to the song and spend a bit of time reflecting with God.
the grace to let you be my servant too. We are pilgrims on a journey. We are travelers on the road. We are here to help each other walk the mile and bear the load. I will hold the Christ light for you in the night time of your fear. I will hold my hand out to you, speak the peace you long to hear. I will weep when you are weeping. When you laugh, I'll laugh with you. I will share your joy and sorrow till we've seen this journey through. When we sing to God in heaven, we shall find such harmony. Born